Hi, and welcome to another episode of SWITCHCast, a podcast delving into the world of film brought to you by the team at Switch. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Charlie David Page.
I'm Jess Fenton.
I'm Brent Davidson.
And I'm Jake Watt.
It's Thursday, the 28th of September, 2017. On this week's show, we go inside the 20th anniversary marathon screenings of Harry Potter as Chris endures over 24 hours of the magical films back to back.
Plus, 2018 is set to be the year of the sequel, with dozens of potential disasters destined for the big screen. We'll take a look at the best and worst films on offer.
And as always, all our reviews and giveaways.
Let's get straight into it with Battle of the Sexes, which reunites Emma Stone and Steve Carell. Jess took to the court to catch the action, so was this biopic a game, set, and match?
With its fantastic cast and story, I so wanted this to be a grand slam, but unfortunately, it falls short. We pick up just as 29-year-old Billie Jean King has won the US Open. Tired of being viewed as a second-rate athlete just because she's a woman, Billie Jean revolts against the USLTA and starts her own female tour, causing her and her fellow lady tennis players to be professionally blackballed. On the other side of town, compulsive gambler, self-proclaimed chauvinist, and former champion 55-year-old Bobby Riggs is struggling with his addiction, marriage, and boredom when he has a eureka moment to challenge the top women's tennis player in a battle of the sexes.
You're offering the men's winner 8 times what you're offering the women's winner.
The men are simply more exciting to watch. It's just biology.
I am not saying that women don't belong on the court. Who would pick up the balls otherwise?
Oh my God.
You know what I'm doing? I'm cooking. I'm cooking!
There isn't a single thing I don't hate about Bobby Riggs.
$100,000 to any woman who can beat Bobby Riggs. Is she out there, and does she have the nerve?
Call Bobby. Tell him it's on.
We're live in 3,
I'm gonna be the best.
2,
That way I can really
1.
change things.
During this time, married Billie Jean meets Marilyn and the two begin an affair. Ashamed and putting everything she's worked for at risk, Billie Jean's game struggles under the mounting pressure of her hidden sexuality and the consequences should it ever become public. In the meantime, she finally agrees to challenge Bobby Riggs after a disastrous match in which he slaughters Aussie champion Margaret Court. The second Battle of the Sexes becomes a $1 million spectacle and the stakes are high. On one side you have fame and glory, while on the other you have the hurdle the women's liberation campaign so desperately needs in order to achieve equality and the respect they so richly deserve. This film by the makers of Little Miss Sunshine does a fantastic job at transporting you back to that time and place, but the magnitude of this event is absent, leaving the resulting film to be utterly weightless. 90 million people watched the Battle of the Sexes back in 1973. It was a circus that ultimately showcased the power of sport and changed the world. It seems to have been a burden too big to bear for filmmakers Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Faris. So while the film boasts great performances and style, it's only getting 3 stars from me.
It's actually looks pretty good on paper. You know, Emma Stone, the directors of Little Miss Sunshine and Ruby Sparks, and it's written by it's written by the guy who wrote The Full Monty. He won like an Academy Award for The Full Monty. He also wrote Slumdog Millionaire. Of course, Emma Stone and Steve Carell and Sarah Silverman, and the cast is awesome too. So, you know, on paper, like all the elements are there for a really cool film.
But the story as well, I mean, this event happened, 40 years ago, and it was an absolute game changer. It was massive. Like, I think people, because there's been a whole generation of people who just, post the Battle of the Sexes, who just didn't grow up with this event. And people forget how massive it was. Like, millions and millions and millions of people across the world tuned in to watch this tennis match. And it was crazy. Yeah,
like at the time and stuff, like this was regarded as like a pretty big, step forward in terms of feminism in sport and, the representation of women and that a woman could play on an equal level to a man. It's a big deal and it's like still, super relevant.
And almost half a century later, we're still talking about it.
yeah, exactly. Well, it's like still relevant. That's the thing. Like, it's unfortunately.
Yeah.
Especially this year, like sort of, like you see all the stuff with, I guess, Donald Trump dredging up all this sort of, negative opinions and stuff towards women and whatnot. And especially women in the film industry are like sort of battling for, recognition and equal pay and all that type of stuff as well. So, Battle of the Sexes is like still relevant, and this movie like should be a pretty timely one.
You know what though? It's got Emma Stone in it, and I'm going to see it anyway. I don't care what anyone actually says about it, because I would literally watch anything that Emma Stone is in.
Yeah.
Anything?
Anything.
Oh my god.
I feel like we're in an Oliver musical number.
Like, you would watch Emma Stone just, like, dramatically reenact one of Daniel's, like, essay-long reviews about Lord of the Rings.
I would pay to see her do that, yes.
Oh my god.
That sounds pretty damn entertaining, if you ask me.
Yeah. Like, she would make it thrilling.
That said, I once was on a date, and we had the choice between Easy A classic, and Dancer in the Dark, another classic, but for a very different reason. And we chose Dancer in the Dark. It was...
That was definitely the wrong choice.
I spent 20 minutes crying afterwards. We could have watched Easy A and been making out 5 minutes in.
Easy A is so good.
But yeah, instead you decided to traumatize yourself, so that's
I was
also
so
great
traumatized.
for a date.
Sorry, we digress, but far out.
What was the eventual, what was the deciding factor to go with Dancer in the Dark over Easy A?
It was described as a Bjork musical, and he was like, you like Bjork, you like musicals.
Yeah, who doesn't love crazy Icelandic singers?
And then at the end I was like, this is so sad. I don't know what to do. And spent 20 minutes crying.
And how was he after it?
Yeah, how'd the date end?
I think I went home traumatized. It was a bit of laughing and like, yeah, I knew that had happened. And then it was just like, great.
I am never speaking to you again.
A little bit. There was a little bit of speaking afterwards. But safe to say, it didn't work out. I think when you spend 20 minutes crying into someone's, lap, there's no hope.
On a date, you cry into someone's lap? I don't think you're dating right.
Don't cry.
No, I think you're dating wrong. That's not what you're supposed to do in your partner's lap. Just saying.
I still can't watch Dancer in the Dark. And I'm still resentful towards Easy A.
And on that note, you can find my full review at maketheswitch.com.au and Battle of the Sexes is in cinemas now.
But moving right along, also out today is Flatliners, the sequel to the 1990 sci-fi drama of the same name. Kevin Bacon, Julia Roberts, and Kiefer Sutherland are replaced by, well, Ellen Page, Diego Luna, and, you guessed it, Kiefer Sutherland. 5 medical students embark on a daring and dangerous experiment, stopping their hearts for gradually longer periods of time, allowing them to experience death and gain first-hand insight into the afterlife. Yet, things go terribly wrong and they start seeing troubling visions of their past, and it seems the only way to save themselves is to go deeper into the death experience.
What happens to us after we die?
The only way to find out is to see for ourselves.
We could document that experience.
Did you see a white light? It was more like pure energy.
How is she playing the piano now? It's like her brain's been rewired.
I'm going next.
Charging 200.
It's a good day to die.
Where?
Something's coming for us.
Something I did. Where? Defense just not stabilizing.
This experiment needs to end right now.
Wake up. I should have told you this wasn't about science or discovery. It's been over 4 minutes.
I did not know that the side effects would show up and start hunting us down.
Details on this new version, nay, sequel of Flatliners, with the studio keeping it under close wraps and shrouded with secrecy, much like death. Here's hoping it will keep fans of the original happy when all is revealed today!
Nope. I've seen the original. I love the original. I grew up with the original. I refuse this quote-unquote sequel reboot. And
sequel!
For no other reason, for anyone who's unfamiliar with the original, for no other reason, I refuse to see this because it's got Nina Dobrev in it. It's kind of like when you see the name Taylor Kitsch on a cast list, you just go, nope, just not gonna go there.
Elaine Page has some credibility.
Who the hell is Elaine Page? Is she related to Ellen Page?
She's just how fancy people say her name, okay? Elaine. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know what on earth possessed Ellen Page to do this movie, or Diego Luna. I'm a big fan of Diego Luna. And Kiefer Sutherland is clearly just looking to be relevant again. No, I'm not going near this one, sorry.
And what exactly makes this a sequel? Like, is it just the fact that Kiefer Sutherland is in it? Because
for sure,
he's
gonna pop into a scene and be like, "Whoa, you guys are trying that experiment? We did it once. Big mistake."
Let me tell you guys a story.
And then we have a flashback that is just Flatliners 1.
That's actually what the whole movie is. It's that happens in the first 5 minutes of the film, and then they just play the entire Flatliners movie.
Probably better.
Oh, well, then I will see it.
Yeah. Terrible.
Like, how do you differentiate between a sequel and a reboot/remake, other than the studio going, well, nah, it's a sequel? Like,
well, I think that's it these days. The
Tron.
lines are so thin. It's just what the studio deems it to be.
You just get one actor from the original film and make them a little bit older. Done. Like in Tron.
Oh, God, that movie was so bad.
But the soundtrack was so good.
Sure.
We digress again, but are you having a go at the Daft Punk soundtrack for Tron Legacy?
I honestly don't remember the soundtrack. I was too focused on how bad the movie was.
Oh, I'm giving that 5 out of 5 clutch pearls.
Soz.
I'm surprised you have any pearls left by the end of this show.
Why don't you just go cry in someone else's lap?
Rude. I've cried in a lot of laps, okay?
Well, that's some really bad film choices then. Also out today is Heal the Living, an adaptation of the internationally acclaimed novel of the same name. Chris checked out this French drama and filed this report for us.
Catel Killiaferre's latest film is the heartbreaking medical drama Heal the Living. But do not be fooled, this is not just a very special French episode of Grey's Anatomy, this is one of the very best films of the year. Gloriously full-hearted, the film is the story of the intertwining lives of 3 separate groups, who become connected after a 17-year-old surfer is left brain-dead by a tragic accident. The devastated family members, the hospital professionals, and a terminally ill patient awaiting a heart transplant are all the focus of Killiaferre's sublimely empathetic and compassionate eye, as the director brings a remarkable emotional acuity and sense of generosity to each of their stories. Visually, the film is magnificent, trading mostly in cool blues that echo the stunning surfing footage that opens the film, and finds time for breathtaking visual flourishes that allow us keen insight into the characters' inner lives. Alexandre Desplat's score, Tom Harari's cinematography, the performances from Anne Dorval and Tahar Rahim in particular, everything in this film combines so symphonically that by the end of the film I was a complete mess. This is something very special, and I'm giving it 5 stars. You can find my full review at maketheswitch.com.au, and Heal the Living is in cinemas now.
Finally, The Dancer is in cinemas from today. Based on the true story of Laui Fuller, played by French musician Soko, the story follows her from the American Midwest to Paris at the turn of the 20th century, where she became an icon with her avant-garde performances and revolutionary dance, the Serpentine.
This is my daughter, and one day she'll be the greatest artist in the world!
What do you think of Loey? It could be my stage name for my dance. Your dance.
The magnificent Loey.
Forgive me, sir. That one is not for you. She's standoffish.
Let's try.
Hypnotizing audiences every night, Loey had Paris's elite at her feet, and was an inspiration for the likes of Tallulah-Trek and the Lumiere brothers. However, Isadora Duncan, played by Lily Rose Depp, a willowy young prodigy hungry for glory, threatens to destroy Loey's reputation, confidence and insanity. Nominated for 3 awards at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival, this is a luminous biography, packed with plenty of French stuff, including passion and rivalry.
I kind of love Soko. Did anyone else listen or download that album? Soko, Not So Cute? So good. That I'll Kill Her song. Yeah, that's the name of it. Soko, Not So Cute. She's like a little bit French, a little bit funny, a little bit weird.
A little bit chic.
Yes. And her song, I'll Kill Her, beautiful. I remember that one from when I was in year 12, when we went through a bit of a French renaissance in my high school. But she was very cute and funny in the film clips. It's another singer who can act quite well, like a Janelle Monáe, or I wonder what she's going to be like.
I think the French are like pretty into their like singer, actress crossover
Yeah, it does happen quite a lot.
Like Lily Rose Depp's mother, Vanessa Paradis.
Yeah, nice one. Vanessa Paradis is like, well, to me, like I know as an actress and stuff, but in France, I think she's probably even like bigger as a singer
and a model.
And a model, yeah.
Can I also point out that Jake's synopsis of this film, it kind of sounds almost exactly like Black Swan.
Yeah.
Rival ballerinas and...
I guess really superficially, yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but I'm just saying that caught me off guard. That's all.
Yeah, I guess like that sort of whole trope is pretty like old school. Just like the prima ballerina and the young upstart comes along and sort of steals her like limelight and stuff. I don't think the character in this is going to morph into a kind of swan mutant like in Black Swan.
Aww.
You don't think she'll start growing feathers? Really?
This is literally just Jess desperate for an excuse to say Darren Aronofsky again.
I was waiting.
You were the first one to say. I didn't say it. You said it. More importantly, I just want to see someone else stab Winona Ryder in the face with a nail file.
Too brutal.
Well, Stranger Things season 2 is just about to come out, so...
Will! Touch the Christmas lights, Will!
Why does she sound Australian?
Will!
Like Bogan Australian.
Will!
Will, you bloody little shit, get over here.
Will, you fucking drongo, you're in the Upside Down.
Oh, I know.
Fucking, that's where benders live.
But Lily Rose Depp, hey?
Yes, oh yeah. If that name sounds familiar, it's because she's Johnny Depp's daughter.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Hence the surname.
Jess, do tell me more.
Depp.
Do you think it's easier to become a famous actress when you have famous actor parents?
Yes.
I think so,
First they've got to be Miss Golden Globe, and then they become actresses. Those are the rules.
I think it's easy to have less talent as the child of another celebrity. It certainly helps.
What was the movie Lily Rose Depp was in before this, the Kevin Smith one?
Yoga Hoses.
Yoga Hoses. Wasn't Kevin Smith's daughter in that as well? And like she is like an actress of like
yes,
zero
Harley
talent.
Quinn, because they're like so they're family friends. Like who knew that Kevin Smith and his wife were like BFFs with Vanessa Paradis and Johnny Depp? Like that idea blew my mind. But yeah, the two daughters are like best friends in real life, and they made this movie, started this movie together.
Like Lily Rose Depp though, like compared to Kevin Smith's daughter, actually probably does have some like I don't know, like charisma or acting talent or.
She got the looks.
She got the looks, all right.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I'm just really interested in seeing like another After Earth film, but this time with Johnny Depp and Lily Rose Depp instead of the Smiths.
Said no one ever. Who wants another After Earth film?
And who wants to see Johnny Depp in anything these days?
Sorry, Murder on the Orient Express people.
Oh, I saw the trailer for that at Golden Circle. Why do we need another version?
Well, because they had a surplus of mustaches lying around Hollywood.
I reckon the rights were up. Surely there was a rights option thing that was up, and they were like, fuck it, let's just throw a bunch of famous people at this story we know works really well.
Has anyone else noticed that the stars of the new Star Wars trilogy, as in John Boyega and Daisy Ridley, they've made really poor choices post-Star Wars to keep their sort of star aloft? Like, they're just making shit in between Star Wars sequels.
Monster Calls was a devastating beauty. Oh no, that was the other one. That was Rogue One Girl.
Yeah, that was that was Felicity. We love Felicity.
I don't like John Boyega made that movie with the director of Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, but he's going to be in the Pacific Rim sequel.
There's a Pacific Rim sequel? Whoa, spoiler alert for later on in the conversation.
Oh, hey, teaser. Yeah, there's a Pacific Rim sequel, so I don't know.
As if the first film wasn't a tease enough.
So we've gone from a synopsis of The Dancer, set at the turn of the 20th
century. To Darren Aronofsky.
And then we've ended at Pacific Rim. How much more could you ask for a film podcast?
If we haven't listed your favourite film in there somewhere, please let us know. Or least favourite.
It's just kind of like a bit of a stream of consciousness style examination of, like life, French stuff, whatever.
Life, the universe, and everything.
Yeah. Good.
All right, let's take a look at the upcoming films now in our trailer wrap. Here's Tomb Raider.
What's your name?
Lara.
Surname?
Croft.
If you're listening to this, then I must be dead. I found something. A tomb called the Mother of Death. If Trinity succeeds, our world is in danger. promise me you will stop them.
I promise. I think I know where my dad went.
That's right in the middle of the Devil's Sea.
It will be an adventure.
Death is not an adventure.
Well, I'm a big fat nerd, and I'm super excited for this, although I'm really disappointed Angelina Jolie is no longer in it, but maybe she's a little bit #too old. Yeah, this is definitely something I'll be watching. I will watch it, and I'm glad they haven't padded out her boobs, because they definitely did that in the first couple of Tomb Raider films.
Yeah. Alicia
I think
Vikander.
Angelina Jolie is too good for this now.
Yeah. No, I don't like Alicia Vikander. I mean, I love Alicia Vikander, but in this role, she's so tiny. Like, I don't think she's the right fit.
The movie's like based on like the reboot of Tomb Raider, where like
the better game.
Tomb Raider rebooted in like 2013, and they kind of like made Lara Croft more like realistic looking.
Yeah, because
Like,
I have that
all the
game. I'm
proportions
actually
and stuff.
staring at it right now.
What was that about a big fat nerd?
I'm a big fat nerd. You know that. Rude. Sorry, Jake.
No, it's like Alicia Vikander is supposed to like represent that kind of more realistic.
One thing that I found that was really interesting in this trailer, talking about that side of things, is you hear a lot of grunts and groans, and you feel her pain, and you see her kind of endure a lot of really painful kind of things, and you actually see her reacting to it, which is really
She's struggling. She's not
superhero-like. It's much more human.
Yeah, like I guess that's kind of the point, like of making her sort of like I guess build more realistic as well, is that as an audience you kind of you're more worried about the character. So she's like less of a superhero and more of like a Indiana Jonesy sort of more rough and tumble character. Like she'll take a hit and get some dirt in her face, and
But this time, she's pocket-sized.
yeah. Like to be honest, I don't think this movie looks very good.
It hasn't grabbed me yet.
It gives me like an Assassin's Creed like vibe, like all the slow-mo and the exposition.
I can only hope, really.
Assassin's Creed starring Alicia Vikander's boyfriend, Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
Oh my god, crossover, Assassin's Creed meets Tomb Raider.
Assassin's Raider.
Or Tomb Creed.
Tomb Creed.
Tomb's Creed. I would watch that.
Feels like it should have Liam Neeson in it.
That's Ra's al Ghul.
No, he would die and then be just a disembodied voice for the rest of it. Anyway, it looks much better than the other two Tomb Raider movies they made.
I like the first one. The second one sucked, but I like the
I don't
first
really
one.
remember the other movies.
The
to be
one
honest.
with Daniel Craig was in that iconic shower scene.
Well, yes, playing an American while Angelina Jolie was playing a Brit. It did not work.
Hashtag roles
Roll
reversed.
swap.
Accent swap.
Who's the bad guy in this? Like who are the bad guys in Tomb Raider?
Oh, the Nazis is it? I don't know.
Are the Nazis?
No, that's not true.
Remember like a dinosaur.
That's like Indiana Jones.
There was a dinosaur in one of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether the dinosaur's like the kingpin or whatever, like the sort of the
It's
leader.
a video
of...
game. They don't need to be realistic.
Oh, video games. I think you're talking about the movies.
Well, I think for the movie, it seems like some kind of, I don't know, maybe a rival archaeologist or something like that. She's going on about having to save the world and stopping this thing they find in a tomb that has been raided.
So it's like Da Vinci Code meets Indiana Jones
meets Tomb Raider.
Meets Tomb Raider, exactly. Meets a PlayStation. Oh my god. But like, how do you get people excited about something that they're not actively participating in like they used to?
You cast someone with really big boobs. Oh, no, wait. Fail. I don't know.
Yeah, that didn't work with Angelina Jolie, so it's not going to work here.
This movie just has like one of those. I'm kind of imagining there's like a scene in the movie where they press like a button and like a big beam of light shoots into the sky. Then they're all freaking out about how to turn it off. Like I'm kind of, I'm betting now. I will seriously bet anybody now that actually happens in this movie. It just has that vibe.
There should also be like some sort of quasi-sexy scene where she's like getting changed from her like prim and proper outfit to her tomb raiding gear or something like that. Maybe a bit of steam.
This is Alicia Vikander. She will get nude for anything. Like I'm trying
She'll
to remember a movie
$5
she's in.
on the street. You know.
I'm trying to remember a movie I've seen her in where she hasn't gotten nude.
Oh.
So
what are the movies she gets? Sorry, what are the movies she gets nude in?
Jake hastily makes a note. I just got a pen and paper here. Let me just what are those movies again?
Yeah.
Well, I saw was like Ex Machina, where she's like a naked robot, so it doesn't really kind of.
Well, yeah, technically that. But there's the Danish Girl. There's the Light Between Oceans. I'm pretty sure she gets in that. And what's the other one? There's seriously, it's all of them.
Look, just Google when she gets her tits out.
Alicia Vikander, see her filmography and go, yes, and then just go from there.
I'll just
titsography.
Google for like a supercut YouTube.
But the thing is, she doesn't.
I'm sure it exists.
She doesn't have any tits. That's what gets me.
Well, we can see if Alicia Vikander gets naked in Tomb Raider when it hits Australian cinemas on the 15th of March 2018.
Oh, God.
Now let's take a look at Wes Anderson's The Isle of Dogs.
The Japanese archipelago, 20 years in the future. Canine saturation has reached epidemic proportions. An outbreak of dog flu rips through the city of Megasaki. Mayor Kobayashi issues emergency orders, calling for a hasty quarantine. Trash Island becomes an exile colony. The Isle of Dogs.
We get the idea. You're looking for your lost dog Spots. Does anybody know him?
No.
I've lost all of my pride. Spots, if he's alive, may very well be living even at this moment as a captive prisoner.
Somebody is up to something.
Will you help him? The little pilot.
Why should I?
Because he's a 12-year-old boy. Dogs love those.
We'll find him.
I'm actually like, really pumped for this movie. My favorite Wes Anderson film was The Fantastic Mr. Fox. So this kind of seems like more of the same, but 5 times as many actors involved.
And Japanese.
And Japanese, yeah. And with dogs. And Yoko Ono's in this as well. Yoko Ono does...
I know, how weird is that?
That is cool.
So cool.
Yeah, I was like looking through the cast list, and Yoko Ono just like pops up, so that'll be interesting.
Wes Anderson, that kooky, magnificent bastard. A stop-motion animation about puppies. I mean, come on.
So
Love
cute.
it. Love it.
Let's have a look at some of the cast members, because like although we could be reading them for half an hour, here's some of the highlights. Bryan Cranston. We have Scarlett Johansson. Regulars from Wes Anderson's films: Tilda Swinton, Edward Norton, Bill
I have something to say
Murray,
about that.
Frances McDormand. You want to talk about, let me guess, Greta Gerwig?
No, I want to talk about Edward Norton. Like, what's the trick here with Wes Anderson? Because Edward Norton is known as one of the worst actors in Hollywood to work with. He's a controlling a-hole who, like, rewrites scripts and changes shit left, right, and centre, and people just flat out refuse to work with him. But he is constantly in Wes Anderson films, and I find that really interesting. I'd love to sort of find out more about their working relationship behind the scenes, because Wes he's an auteur. He has such a unique vision, and obviously he writes his films as well. So I would really love to see how these two people work together.
I think it's a swift backhand.
I read an article saying that he was actually Wes Anderson turned up on set a few times, and Edward Norton was like already there and like playing with like all the puppets and stuff, and he eventually had to be like barred from the movie lot, and
escorted from the set.
Yeah, from playing with the puppets just too much. He just loved it a little bit.
Why was he even there? It's a stop motion animation. It's not like he voices it live. Fuck off,
like,
Edward Norton.
Dude, we don't need you for another 6 months when we actually put the voices down.
Yeah,
What are you doing
That's
here?
so creepy.
I totally made that up, by the way. I would imagine that would be something Edward Norton would do.
What's with the lies, Jake?
Stop fiddling with the puppets.
It's just a funny mental image.
Ed Norton, like, playing with Wes Anderson's puppets.
Yeah, but I actually think that's why he hasn't been, like,
Was he
hit and
stroking the
interfered,
dog?
because, well, I think, like, Edward Norton would have no idea how to do, like, stop-motion animation, so I think that's kind of, like, the thing which prevents him from fiddling with this movie too much.
You're just going to find in like 2 months there's going to be an article that's like Edward Norton banned from film set during filming, and now everyone will ask
Wes Anderson's dogs.
Exactly.
Everyone will ask him in interviews like, so is it true you banned Edward Norton from the filming set?
I won't
For stroking your dogs?
And this podcast episode has a drastic rise in downloads for some
touching your
obscure
puppets?
reason.
I won't be happy until I read, like, a BuzzFeed article with, like, the headline, "Sick Puppet Freak, Edward Norton banned from set."
Edward Norton touches puppets again.
17 reasons why Edward Norton was banned from the set.
Which puppet are you that Edward Norton has played with?
Oh my god, we are some sick people. Turn this beautiful, innocent-looking film about an island of dogs into like this perv fest with Edward Norton at the centre.
I actually really like Edward Norton. I really don't have that much bad to say about him. I like his
Me
films.
too. I like Edward Norton as well. Why did he get replaced as the Incredible Hulk?
Ugh.
Well, okay, that's one of the films I didn't like him in.
No, have you ever seen his the one and only film I think he's ever directed called Keeping the Faith?
Yeah, I have.
I feel like I have.
It's got like Ben Stiller in it and Jenna Elfman. I love that movie.
But he plays like a wacky vicar, right? He's like a kind of a sort of a zany
yeah,
priest.
he's a priest. And his best friend is a rabbi.
What about The Illusionist?
Yeah, it's like a romantic
Did you
comedy.
see The Illusionist? I quite enjoyed it. I just thought it was unfortunate that it came out at the same time as The Prestige.
Yeah, that was a good movie. The Illusionist.
Yeah.
It was by the dude who made he made The Illusionist, then he went on to make Limitless. Yeah, really good director and really good. He makes really good movies, and that was like a really good Edward Norton movie, I thought.
It was.
Has anyone seen this or heard of this like really old animated movie called The Plague Dogs?
No.
No.
It is by the same dude who wrote Watership Down. Anyway, Plague Dogs is kind of like these two dogs get infected with a virus. The entire movie is them sort of being pursued by the government. In the end, they kind of swim out into this river, and the movie ends with them sort of swimming, and you kind of surmise that they die. And to me, like, this new Wes Anderson movie kind of seems like, you think of the happiest possible ending for the Plague Dogs, and it's just like, oh, they swim out in the river and they have this like virus, but it turns out that they hit an island and there's all these other friendly dogs there, and they form this like, sort of massive dog society. And
aw, happy endings for everyone.
yeah, exactly. Seems pretty cool. Anyway,
well, you can look forward to seeing The Isle of Dogs in Australian cinemas from the 19th of April 2018. And finally, let's take a look at Peter Rabbit.
In a beautiful wood, there lived a rabbit named Peter with a blue jacket.
Sorry!
And no pants.
Come on in! We've got the garden. Help yourself to anything. Wait, didn't you try to eat me? How are you? So good to see you.
Oh, yeah. Now it's a party.
I can't think of one thing that could possibly stop our fun. McGregor is coming! Everyone hide!
Okay, I was initially excited about this film. I really like James Corden and Margot Robbie and everyone. This trailer is a lot more childish and animated woodland creature than I was expecting, and I'm not happy.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
I just don't like the tone of this thing. It just kind of seems a bit too broad to me.
Frivolous?
Yeah. And I hate James Corden, so.
No.
Yeah, he sucks.
But it just kind of reminds me, does anyone else remember a really terrible film a couple of years ago called Hop, and it was about the Easter Bunny?
Yeah.
With Russell Brand, and it just kind of like, it just brings back horrible memories of that movie.
Well, I think that's the thing. Like, they've totally taken out what Peter Rabbit actually is and just replaced it with like generic modern bunny, haven't they?
Yeah. He still got the jacket. I don't know. This movie is just...
He's got the jacket, so he's the
got
same
the jacket,
creature.
so...
It kind of has that sort of Poochie vibe to it, I guess.
The Poochie.
Hey, here's Peter Rabbit. He's like the traditional sort of character you love, but hey, he's back now with like some quirky some quips, and he has like this back to the front baseball cap, and he's a skateboarder now. This kind of stinks. It looks like it stinks.
I'm just more worried about so this also stars Donald Gleason, so he's got Peter Rabbit, and this looks like it sucks, and from all accounts, was it Goodbye Christopher Robin also sucks, so that means Donald Gleason, my love Donald Gleason, has ruined Peter Rabbit and now Winnie the Pooh as well. And he's just crushing childhoods everywhere.
Keep him away from beloved children's things.
But let's tie this all in back together. Going back to Easy A, Will Glock is the director of this film, who also directed Easy A.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, God. So obviously it's another film I should avoid on a date.
Brent, I think we can safely say you should avoid all films on dates because it just never ends well.
Dates or films?
Both?
Too harsh. It's too harsh.
It's too real, Roy.
For the both of you, just avoid both of those situations.
I'll just buy a cat.
But at least sad films. Stop crying on your dates, Brent.
I challenge you not to cry to Dancer in the Dark. I'm sorry.
It is pretty traumatizing.
Fucking hell, it's so traumatizing.
But here, like, seriously, Domhnall Gleeson is just screaming erratically in this trailer, which is really showing off a great range of his skills, I thought.
And it's Domhnall Gleeson. The M is silent.
I'm
We
sorry.
went through this weeks ago. I did the whole profile on him and everything. You never get it right.
Can we do
M is silent.
Can we do a rehash? I'm sorry.
Yes, Domhnall. It's like tonal, but with a D. Domhnall.
Like toenail. Okay.
Sounds like dislike. Like, no.
Thumbs down.
My name is spelled Ralph, pronounced Rafe, but it's Ralph everywhere else.
Okay, Toenail Gleeson might be a thumbs down, but...
Toenail Gleeson.
Did you just say Toenail Gleeson?
He said Toenail Gleeson. Domhnall, like tonal, but with a D. Domhnall Gleeson.
But you know who else is in this who I love? Elizabeth Debicki. Oh my god, I think
she's the
freaking
gold
awesome.
chick from Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
She is the most awesome tall person that I know.
Yeah, she is. She's pretty... She was in The Night Manager and stuff too, wasn't she?
She was fucking awesome in The Night Manager, yeah.
I interviewed her once on a red carpet to
we sure did.
A Few Less Men, back when she was like a nobody. And now she's...
Yeah, she was like a bit part in that.
And now she's the tits. She's like she's in Guardians of the Galaxy, and she was in Great Gatsby and Night Manager and everyone. Yeah.
She was in Everest. She was in...
Everest.
She's in Breath, which is coming up.
She was in Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah. Like, she seriously
She
is a
is
really
exceptionally
cool
tall.
and really grounded person as well. Like, I actually read a really interesting article about her. She was doing some stage shows in London, and she's honestly just one of the coolest Aussie chicks you'll ever meet. She's
Australia, represent.
just Australian, but, like, still down to earth, even when she's, like, pseudo-famous now. So,
I didn't realize this movie was actually like filmed in Sydney. Like this
Yes,
is like
in
an
Centennial
animal logic.
Park.
Yeah, it's got like
Yeah.
and the cast is like sort of Margot Robbie, Rose Byrne, Elizabeth Debicki. Yeah, like a fair few Aussies in there. Sam Neill, I guess he's not really Aussie, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, he sells us lamb and stuff. He's Aussie.
So Shane will be getting another sucky Aussie film.
I blame James Corden, mostly. His presence in the film, I think, is the real blight in this production.
Well, who would it be? You got to have you have to have a British Peter Rabbit. So who would you cast instead as a fluffy bunny?
God.
And Russell Brand has already been taken.
Who was the guy who played Dumbledore in Harry Potter? What was that guy's name?
Which one?
Richard Harris?
One of them died.
No, like the one who's
Michael Gambon?
Michael Gambon. Yeah, Michael Gambon. I would say Michael Gambon would be a great Peter Rabbit. He just has that sort of, I don't know, the real kind of like stern authority you need to play Peter Rabbit. So.
What about Daniel Radcliffe as Peter Rabbit?
I don't know. Like Daniel Radcliffe's like voice. Like it's kind of just like it's a real voice part.
I pick Colin Firth. I think he could do it.
He's got rabbit-like qualities.
But here's the thing. Colin Firth was originally the voice of Paddington Bear. And then
Yeah,
he
I
pulled
know.
out, and then Ben Whishaw took over.
But it was because he felt he wasn't appropriate for the role. So that's kind of
that.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he took himself off.
Also, like, almost all the people we've just mentioned are in that god-awful Kingsman sequel.
It wasn't that bad.
That's not what most people in the world think.
It wasn't the worst thing ever.
Yeah, you just keep defending it.
I like Taron Egerton.
Don't get me wrong, I like Taron Egerton too, but that film was just fucking awful. It was exactly the same plot as the first one as well. Anyway.
This from the guy who likes League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, so it's really saying something.
Yeah, it is.
You can catch Peter Rabbit in Australian cinemas from the 22nd of March 2018, and to check out all of those trailers and more, head to youtube.com/MakeTheSwitchAU.
Well, in case there weren't enough unoriginal films in cinemas this year, 2018 looks set to have even more. There are literally dozens of films slated for release next year that are banking on the idea that their predecessors' successors will mean a box office bonanza. So, what are you guys looking forward to, and what are you guys dreading?
Okay, I'm not going to list all of them because there are way too many, and the list I have in front of me doesn't even include all the superhero films. But are we really surprised that there's this many? Because there are no just films anymore in Hollywood. It's always a reboot, a sequel, a reimagining, a franchise, a series, or an extended universe. So this is the future of cinema, I swear to God. But I'm going to prattle off a couple.
Sadly,
we've got
yeah.
The Incredibles 2, The Predator, Jurassic World. Okay, I'm actually looking forward to Jurassic
Wait,
World.
is the Predator is like actual Predator?
Yeah, as in Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator.
Oh. Haven't they done 7 of those already?
We've got Alien versus Predator.
Oh, yeah, those ones.
God.
All right, don't interrupt. I'm still going. And we've got Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ocean's 8, Pacific Rim Uprising, The God Particle, which is Cloverfield 3, Mary Poppins Returns, Maze Runner, The Death Cure, The Girl in the Spider's Web, Super Troopers 2, Insidious Chapter 4, Paddington 2, Equalizer 2, and the worst of them all, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. Dear God. And Meryl Streep is back for that one.
And that title says
it boggles the mind.
everything about it, doesn't it?
Okay, I will admit. Okay, so I'm looking forward to Jurassic World. I'm actually looking forward to Ocean's 8, but I think it will be a disaster.
Have they killed a couple of them off?
No, this is the all girls version. It's got
ladies,
Sandra Bullock
yeah.
and Kate Blanchett and Anne Hathaway, Rihanna. I can't remember who the others are. Anyway, but I'm looking forward to Mary Poppins Returns because I think Emily Blunt is magical.
Well, we hope so.
Mary Poppins The Reckoning is the third one. No, Mary Poppins Curse of the Dragon Emperor, or whatever the third Mummy movie was called.
How would it be inside your head, Brent?
Well, right now I'm Googling ABBA songs to try and figure out what fucking songs could be in Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
What is
all
left?
the shit?
No, but like a lot of the shit songs they used as like incidental bits in Mamma Mia.
And there were a few of those.
Chica Cheetah, no.
That was in it. That was in the first one.
Yeah, I know.
They're going to have to use like Head Over Heels, Hasta Mañana. When all is said and done. Maybe Summer Night City. The Day Before You Came is really obscure, but they could use that. God, everything else is used in the first one. Like, sorry, the source material is exhausted.
They burn through a lot of ABBA songs in that musical.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, but seriously, Meryl Streep and Amanda Seyfried have both signed on for this new one, and the director's back as well. So.
Oh God, that means we're going to see the Mamma Mia sequel in a fucking theater eventually.
It's so
gross.
We can only wait and hope. Yeah.
I actually remember seeing Mamma Mia, the first film, and I was sitting next to a group of men and women that clearly thought that it was a sing-along, and they danced and sang along to the entire film.
Well, you know, they do have sing-along
versions. That would have made the film more interesting, so...
Yeah, but this was like, I don't know, days after it, first came out, so this was not, 10 years down the track, sing-along, fun,
but, it was still
screening.
like 40 years after ABBA released the original songs.
Yeah. They will never die. They will survive a nuclear holocaust.
Also, guess what? Our favourite, Maze Runner the Death Cure.
Oh, so glad we got that on the list as well.
Yes.
Because Dylan O'Brien is not dead.
Hashtag not dead.
He actually found the cure for death. Art imitating life. What?
Oh, because we weren't quite inappropriate enough in that first episode.
No. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
To me, I think easily you could say The Maze Runner, Death Cure, and Wreck-It Ralph 2. Ralph Breaks the Internet, what the fuck is that? But also...
he Googled Google.
Pacific Rim Uprising are probably some of my least anticipated films for 2018. There's going to be a lot of cringe coming out in this next year.
I like Cloverfield 3, God Particle. It's like Cloverfield 2 wasn't even really Cloverfield 2. It was like an unrelated sci-fi movie that is called Cloverfield 2.
It's literally just because it's got the word in the title, right?
Yeah, and so Cloverfield 3 is like some other unrelated sci-fi movie, but they're just calling it like a franchise just to kind of, I don't know, trick people into, because that's what I think people want.
Or worse still, they might actually try and tie it all together, which I think would be the worst decision they could possibly go.
Tying flying saucers into a giant monster movie, and I don't know.
I feel like the biggest what factor on this list is Equalizer 2. Did anyone see the first one?
I didn't mind that movie. I thought it was a pretty decent Denzel Washington ass kicker movie.
But was it big enough to warrant a sequel? I mean, honestly.
It was kind of a flop theatrically, so I don't really think so.
Maybe it's like John Wick 2. It found its audience in home cinema.
Maybe.
Super Troopers 2, that first movie came out about 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
maybe like 20 years ago.
Soon enough that I can still remember it, which is unfortunate.
Oh, I thought it was a great one.
Yeah, it was pretty good, but it was I don't know, like Super Troopers had that kind of Austin Powers factor where it gets quoted way too much, or it got quoted way too much anyway.
Oh my god! And I tried watching Goldmember because it was on TV the other day, and I was just like,
I love
this
Austin
is
Powers.
so bad.
No! All of them are gold.
No, what? That's... You can't say that.
I'm a huge fan of Austin Powers, but fuck, Goldmember is just impossible to get through. Poor Beyonce.
Shit to begin with, yeah.
I'm just backtracking a bit. The Equalizer made $100 million in the US alone.
Are you kidding me?
What was the budget?
55.
Yeah.
It made 101 million in the US and 192 million globally.
Well, Super Troopers made 23 million globally, so can anyone tell me why that one's getting a sequel?
I think the budget was like $5. I think that was like super.
It was
low budget.
3 million apparently.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time on Imgur, which is like the image service underneath Reddit, and they love Super Troopers. I think the internet loves Super Troopers.
Yeah.
I definitely do not love Super Troopers.
Stoners love Super Troopers.
That was like when DVDs and stuff were like really, when everyone was like sort of buying DVDs and like you could rent them as well. That's like from a
kids,
store.
you're gonna have to Google DVDs.
When Blockbuster was still a thing.
Oh, Blockbuster!
That's how Super Troopers became popular, just through like sort of actual physical rentals and word of mouth, and it became like this kind of cult movie for like a kind of like a stoner cult movie type of thing. But Super Troopers 2, like totally different audience environment now. Like, so we don't have that sort of rental word of mouth thing. It's
The Room 2.
Yeah, kind of. But it just I don't know. Like, I don't know if the whole concept of Super Troopers would work now. Like, I don't know whether the audience is the same anymore.
The tagline is "The time is meow."
Yeah.
Everything you need. Like,
wow.
It's the most annoying line from the first movie.
I don't think there's anything relevant about this film whatsoever.
But like back to Ralph Breaks the Internet, the Wreck-It Ralph 2. It's just like, what the fuck? I don't really care about Wreck-It Ralph and the internet and stuff. It's all about like old arcade machines and all that jazz. Like Wreck-It Ralph on the like I can look at the internet now. I'm looking at the internet right now, and I don't really.
He hasn't broken it.
I don't really need Wreck-It Ralph to take me through it. Yeah, pretty weird stuff. The only movie here I'm actually kind of looking forward to is like maybe The Incredibles 2.
Yay!
Possibly.
Even that's like dubious though.
I know. But
there's so much that they can fuck up with that.
It's just like The Incredibles was like so good. But at the same time, like that's kind of when The Incredibles came out, that like predated this entire glut of like superheroes and stuff. So it's kind of like I don't really know if there's any like new territory for The Incredibles 2 to really like mine.
This one's about Jack Jack. It like literally takes place minutes after the end of the first one, and it's all about Jack Jack.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really about it. These other movies, I'm just kind of like meh. There's nothing particularly interesting about these sequels, unless you're a fan of the pre-existing franchise, I guess.
Yes,
But,
Jurassic World.
Like Pacific Rim. I fucking love it.
No.
Yeah. I love Pacific Rim as well, but this one's like doesn't have Guillermo del Toro on there. It's like
it's got basically nobody from the original, does it?
Yeah, no, it's like
anyone
Charlie
who's
Hunnam not in it.
No.
it's
This one's got John Boyega of Star Wars.
I'm not
fame.
going.
You're not listening earlier to the podcast?
No, Pacific Rim was so stupid. These people, like, they spend years building a fucking wall to keep out these monsters, and then they smash it within 2 seconds. I mean, seriously, they thought a wall was going to keep out interdimensional monsters. It was so stupid. And then they get these people and they mind meld them to control a robot. Who comes up with this shit?
Like monsters and things getting smashed. That's kind of, you had me there. That's kind of my
And they
my
had two
jam.
Australian characters who were not played by Australians. I find it very hard to believe that they could not find two Australians roaming around Hollywood to fill these roles.
I can't defend the Australian characters. They were pretty bad. And yeah, the Golden Spider's Web, that sort of weirdo reboot of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo with different actors and
no David Fincher, no Daniel Craig, no Rooney Mara,
and a different book author as well, which makes it even better.
Yeah. It doesn't even sort of follow sequentially the books.
No.
I don't really get it.
It's such a weird jump forward.
I don't know what's going on over there.
Well, bringing it back to some much-loved sequels, cinemas across the country have been celebrating 20 years since the first Harry Potter novel was first published, with back-to-back screenings of every single film in the series. Chris was brave enough to sit through all 24 hours worth of them, and filed this report for us.
Hey kids, it's me, Chris. Just sitting down for the first part of Potterfest at the Astor Theatre. I'm here with my sister Caitlin. Hey Caitlin.
Hi.
Yeah, great. How you feeling?
Good. Pumped.
Are you excited for 24 hours of Harry Potter?
Very much so.
Are you excited to be dead inside in less than 24 hours?
Very much so.
Okay, yeah, things are shaping up. I am excited. I'm pumped. I'm already sweating. Here we go. Okay, kids, we're 2 films in, so one could say the worst film is done, because Chamber of Secrets is not great. Yay! I'm here with Jen, my friend. How you going, Jen? How you feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling fresh.
What's been your favorite moment so far?
The acting's pretty good, obviously.
I do love the evolution of Daniel Radcliffe's eyebrows.
Oh, yes, that has been bothering me, actually. They've waxed his eyebrows for the second film.
Honestly, it's the most satisfying journey so far.
It's been real growth.
Or reversion, the opposite of growth. Thank God. Yeah. My favorite moment so far was definitely seeing Professor Umbridge outside having a smoke. Because people are really getting into the costumes here at the Astor for the Potterfest. It's pretty amazing. The response so far in the cinema is pretty crazy, would you say?
Absolutely. Very keen fans.
Oh yeah. We're feeling very normal by comparison. Very average. Very boring. Not worthy. Anyway, at some point, I'm definitely going to fall asleep for an entire movie because I think we're about to start drinking. So, Here we go. Okay, we're 5 movies in. What's that, 14 hours? 16 hours. I don't know, but I'm dead inside. How are you feeling, Jen?
Happy.
That's a lie. How are you feeling, Caitlin?
My body is really feeling the sitting down for this long.
Yeah. I think I'm just a torso now. This is Ben and Amy. Say hey, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
How are y'all feeling?
I think I'm ready for a butterbeer. Keep myself awake.
You're disgusting.
I'm fresh, ready to go.
You're the worst. So I guess what's great at the moment is just watching everyone slowly die. We walked out of the cinema and just everyone is napping. Any highlights, kids? Any? Just from life. Up until this point.
Not the popcorn. That's
Wow, that's not making it in.
Watching people stretch in between movies. Just Harry Potter people will come up with some strange stretch moves.
Bracing yourself for 2.5 hours of sedentary lifestyle. Oh God, okay, we're heading back in for the 6th film. I might fall asleep. I shouldn't have had this much wine.
It is a marathon in every sense of the word.
There we go, that's a wrap. Thank you. And here it is, the final check-in from the Harry Potter marathon at the Astor 2K17. I am now in bed, a broken man. None of my group stayed for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which, is apt. So we all left after Deathly Hallows Part 2, number 8. 8 films in a row, 11 a.m. to 9 a.m. It was a journey. It was a lot. I don't think I exist below the torso because of the Astor seats, which are wonderful. The crowd was bananas. It was so much fun. Would never do it again. Because, holy hell, I'm broken. I'm gonna have a nap. Maybe I'll sleep until tomorrow morning. Who knows? So this is Chris, signing off from the Potterfest Marathon 2017. See you later, gang.
We have some great giveaways up for grabs this week. We're giving you the chance to win one of 5 copies of Rough Night on Blu-ray. Scarlett Johansson, Kate McKinnon, Gillian Bell, Alana Glazer, and Zoe Kravitz play 5 best friends from college who reunite 10 years later on a wild bachelorette weekend. But their hard partying takes a hilariously dark turn when their stripper ends up dead.
We also have 5 copies of The Promise up for grabs. Set during the last days of the Ottoman Empire, this is the story of a love triangle between a dashing medical student, a beautiful dance instructor, and an acclaimed photojournalist, who is also dashing. Starring Oscar Isaac, Charlotte Le Bon, and Christian Bale, this genetically blessed trio are forced to put their conflicting feelings aside to get themselves and other less attractive people to safety. For your chance to win this and all of our giveaways, head to maketheswitch.com.au/comps now.
Damn!
Now, before we go, we'd like to offer some cinematic inspiration, with each of us suggesting one film that you should see this week and why. For me, this will not be the first Alfred Hitchcock film we've referenced in these recommendations, but my favourite film for this week is going to be The Birds.
Nope, don't do birds.
Jessica, I know you love your birds. This is one of the creepiest reasons why you should not love birds. My grandparents, in their wisdom, decided to show me this as, I think I was an 8 or 9-year-old child. It pretty much left me traumatized, but also extremely respectful of Alfred Hitchcock's work. Essentially, it is some of the most ridiculous, over-the-top horror regarding birds that you will ever see. It's absolutely nuts. It's violent, it is terrifying, it is scary. Tippi Hedren does a fantastic job of just generally being mortified of birds, and I honestly, it's just so over the top in regards to its horror, and it will honestly make you fear swarms of birds for the rest of your life. So The Birds is my pick for the week.
If you didn't already.
You didn't already have a giant phobia, yeah. So go watch The Birds. All right, Jessica, how about you?
This week, for anyone who follows me on social media, knows that I'm a massive foodie. So this one is a 2014 film. It was one of those little sort of hidden gems of 2014 that combines great filmmaking and food. It's called Chef.
Yes.
It's called Chef. It's by filmmaker Jon Favreau. One of the things I love most about this film is that it was actually made, it was a small film, it was filled with all of Favreau's friends like Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. This was actually made after he made the first 2 Iron Man films, and before he became a slave to Disney and started making The Jungle Book, and now he's making The Lion King. So it's a little film. It's about a chef who kind of loses his shit in a very public way, and he ends up getting a food truck, and so his best friend and his son and he go on this road trip across America, bringing food to all the beautiful cities that they visit on their way home. And it's incredible. It's a beautiful story about a father and son, and about a man sort of getting his passion for his life back. And the food, so first of all,
it makes me hungry.
Yeah, I almost ate meat after seeing this movie. It looks so good. But I will tell you this, there's a scene where Jon Favreau makes a grilled cheese sandwich for his son, and it is one of the most insane grilled cheese sandwiches you've ever seen. I've actually made it in real life based on a recipe that Jon Favreau tweeted, and it is absolutely amazing. I highly recommend everyone make it themselves.
What's in the sandwich?
Oh, it's 3 different types of cheese on sourdough and lots and lots and lots of butter. That's the key to any good grilled cheese. It's
Butter
just
does make
lathered on
everything better,
butter. Yeah.
Fat,
Yeah.
and carbs.
So it's Gruyere, Parmesan, and a good cheddar on a sourdough.
Didn't you just make a macaroni and cheese last night or something?
I did. I made Chrissy Teigen's macaroni and cheese. But that's not the point.
Jess likes cheese. What a surprise.
I do. I love cheese. So it's got an amazing soundtrack that's all Cuban and Latin inspired music, and some really quirky covers in it, and obviously great performances. Jon Favreau wrote, directed and starred in this. It is about food. The food featured in it is just mouth-wateringly good. So I do not recommend you watch this movie hungry. But it's really cute, funny, quirky love story, father and son story, friendship, about food, and so go see Chef.
Good recommendation. Now, Brent, what tragic trash do you have for us this week?
I love that I'm held in such high esteem. It really touches me so deeply.
I think it's fair.
I was inspired during this podcast to say something, but I'm going to go back with what I originally thought of a couple of weeks ago that I've been holding on to. But the film that I'm going to recommend, it's a lot of fun. I think it's...
What was that?
I'm breathing into a paper bag at the moment.
Keep breathing, Charlie. The film I'm recommending this week is Bring It On.
Yes! Best movie
See? Thank you. It is trashy, but it knows it. It's fantastic. Kirsten Dunst is in it. It's kind of just like the late 90s in perfect encapsulation. I have watched a couple of the sequels. They don't live up, unfortunately, but I've definitely watched the first one at least 1,000 times. I think you need to go and watch it. It will make you understand a whole lot of pop culture right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's brilliant, so go watch it. It's fun.
And it has some of the most sick cheerleader choreography you've ever seen.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, that's basically the only thing that keeps the sequels going is some pretty tight cheerleading choreography. Everything else is kind of just terrible. I think, what is it? Bring It On Again, Bring It On All or Nothing. I don't know. Bring It On Resurgence. Bring It On Mary Poppins Returns. I can't remember the rest. But the first one is the best, so go see that.
Yes. I second that.
So, actually a half-decent suggestion from Brent. That's fantastic.
Full decent suggestion by Brent.
Full decent.
They've all been decent suggestions.
It's fully decent, y'all.
I bet you went and watched League of Extraordinary Gentlemen after that.
Literally nobody ever said that. Okay, Jake, your turn. What have you got for us this week?
I was going to suggest...
Bring It On.
Yeah, Bring It On. This movie called The Wave, which is by the guy who's directing the new Tomb Raider. It's like a Norwegian disaster movie. It's pretty awesome and stuff. But I'm not going to mention that one. I'm just going to go...
You're definitely not going to mention it.
No, totally. I'm not going to mention that one at all. And I'm going to go for Blade Runner, The Final Cut. Just because Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner is coming up. Blade Runner, The Final Cut. Awesome movie. It's like the definitive, Blade Runner experience, I guess. And one of Ridley Scott's, a handful of the good Ridley Scott movies, in my opinion. Ridley Scott sucks. I don't really like him very much, but Blade Runner is amazing. Yeah. So, in a nutshell, go and watch Blade Runner, The Final Cut before you go and see the sequel. It's just an amazing movie. Fantastic actors. Young Harrison Ford, where he's not so angry all the time. And he can actually sort of run properly. Also musical score, Vangelis does the score for the original Blade Runner. The new one doesn't actually use that score, so...
What?
Yeah, true story. I don't know why.
What the fuck? It's so iconic. That is a stupid move on their part.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever explained why, or they haven't explained yet why they're avoiding using that score, or because Vangelis is still alive. He's still doing stuff.
I'm sure if you asked him, he'd do it.
Yeah.
Vangie.
Yeah, Vange. What up? Yeah, so I don't know, go and see it. But to be honest, though, The Final Cut is probably one of the best, sci-fi movies you could possibly see, so you kind of need to watch that to watch the new Blade Runner, but by the same token, watching The Final Cut might make the new one look a bit shit, because it has Jared Leto in it, and also Ryan Gosling, so really, it's up to you. Just you kind of, you're the master of your own destiny on this occasion, but I'd advise watching Blade Runner, The Final Cut in the event.
No, go back to recommending The Wave.
Yeah, no one wants to hear about The Wave. It's Norwegian.
Like tears in the lap of your date.
So are the days of our lives.
No, I was trying to make it there's that
fires burning
that iconic line about tears fading in the rain, and the replicant says it all.
Yeah, I did not make that connection.
Yeah.
So
And you're
Sorry.
I hate Blade Runner so much.
I had to study it for my HSC.
How can you hate Blade Runner? What's the problem?
Okay, I think I saw it too late in life, and I'd seen too many movies beforehand, and there were ideas in this film, particularly there was a character that's later revealed to be a robot, and I was like, I kind of knew the whole time, and so it didn't dawn on me that I wasn't supposed to know that, and so it just ruined the whole film.
Yeah, well, arguably there's sort of another character who's also supposed to be a robot, and that's kind of...
Is that question going to be answered in the sequel? Because that's really disappointing.
Exactly, that's the thing, the first movie left it up to your own imagination as to whether that character, who we can't really name, was a robot, but it kind of has to be, explored in the sequel. So anyway, watch The Final Cut. It's awesome. You'll enjoy it, and possibly watch the sequel when it comes out in Australia quite soon.
Some interesting choices there. You can find the links to all the articles that we've talked about on this week's podcast at maketheswitch.com.au. Please subscribe to SWITCHCast on iTunes or your favourite podcast platform, and don't forget to rate us. And stay in touch on Twitter. I'm at Charlie_David. Jess?
I'm Miss Jess _Switch.
Brent?
At Brent C. Davidson. That's all you're getting this week, everyone.
Well, I feel like I've been shortchanged.
Boo, give the people what they want.
Do they really want it, though? Come on.
I know what I want, and I want it now.
I want you, 'cause I'm Mr. Rain.
I'm Mr. Rain.
Rain.
Call him Mr. Rain.
Mr. Rain.
And Jake.
At Jake Chatty.
Like it, follow it. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Make the Switch AU to stay up to date with all the latest reviews, news, trailers, and giveaways.
And you can find all the notes and links to everything we've discussed on this week's podcast, as well as other episodes, by visiting switchcast.com.au.
On next week's show, we'll have our verdict on Blade Runner 2049, 2049, 2049. We'll also know the title of that Blade Runner movie.
Plus, I'll take a look inside the Sydney cinema, whose retrospective screenings are bringing classic films and audiences en masse back to the big screen.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you all next week.